Coach Prime Deion Sanders has a warning for all of his Colorado opponents this year, including Matt Rhule and Nebraska. We'll tell you what he said next. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, coming up on 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer. And I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. It's a brand new mobile game that's completely free, has no ads, and 100% playable offline. Use the promo code LOCKEDONCFB, all caps, inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program and begin your coaching legacy today. All right, we got a lot to get to here. Coach Prime has a warning to all of his opponents, including Nebraska. Plus, we have the latest news, and it includes injuries and recruiting around the Big Ten, some of it bad news, plus our Big Ten classics all on the way. But Coach Prime Deion Sanders and his Colorado Buffaloes fell short with all their hyped-up expectations last season with just 4 wins while losing 8 of their last 10 games. But this year, Deion has a warning for all of his opponents. That includes Matt Rhule and the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Week 2. The Huskers officially, by the way, named Dylan Raiola their starting quarterback. That just happened yesterday. More on that in a minute. But regarding Colorado and Coach Prime, who will play Nebraska in Week 2. You can fire up that old hype machine again. Coach Prime is in love with his Buffalo's pass defense for 2024. As one of the greatest shutdown corners of all time, Deion knows a thing or two about pass defense. And he says throwing against Colorado is going to be a problem for their opponents this year. He's very confident going in, likes what he sees so far. Now, his son Shedeur gets a lot of attention being the quarterback of this team. Some even think he'll be a Heisman candidate and maybe a top pick in the NFL draft next spring. But Sanders' other son, Shilo Sanders, plays in the secondary on the defense. He was second team all Pac-12 last year, and he was the Buffs' leading tackler and led the team in forced fumbles. He can hit, and he's intercepted 3 passes last year in 10 games. Kid can play, but his brother gets all the attention. His dad gets all the attention. He's not a bad player on defense. Deion loves how physical his guys are and loves how deep they are in the secondary in particular. But as excited as Coach Prime is about his pass defense this year, last year, let's admit it, they were a disaster. In fact, the entire defense was a disaster. They were outside the top 100 in college football and FBS for both rushing yards and passing yards allowed per attempt. They just weren't good. Now, Nebraska played Colorado at Colorado last year and got a pretty good look at them. Unfortunately for the Huskers, it was one of their worst games of the year and one of Colorado's 4 wins that they got all season. It was against Nebraska. It was a 36-14 game. In that game, as you remember, all 3 Husker quarterbacks played in this game. Jeff Sims, he threw for 106 yards. He rushed for 67 yards and a touchdown, but he also threw an interception, and he left the game with an injury. Heinrich Haarberg, just 2 of 6 passing. He did score a touchdown. Chubba Purdy, he played a little bit, and it was just kind of a mess as the game went on, particularly in the second half. Yeah, we gave it a little bit of a running game. Gabe Ervin Jr. Was able to grind out about 74 yards on the ground. Receiving, the only notable receiver was 5'9" Billy Kemp. He made 5 catches for 57 yards. And that was really the only notable offense against a pretty bad Colorado defense last year. So, what if what Coach Prime says is true, that his defense is better, their pass defense will be physical, and they're going to be a problem for other teams like Nebraska? How might the Huskers fare this year? This is a pivotal year for the Huskers. And this is going to be a pivotal game in Week 2. First of all, Week 2 is going to be an awesome week of college football throughout the Big Ten. Texas is visiting Michigan in the Big House and a maze out on national TV early in the day at noon. Iowa State is playing Iowa for the Cy-Hawk Trophy. That's always a great game. And, of course, Nebraska will host Coach Prime in Colorado on national TV on NBC in front of a hyped, sold-out crowd at Memorial Stadium. It's going to be one of the greatest atmospheres all season. Plus, for this game, all eyes in the country will be on five-star freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola. Again, as he was just named the official starter yesterday. Now, think about this for a minute. It's a nationally televised game involving Deion Sanders. The cameras just always zoom in on him nonstop, right? It's one of the biggest media darlings of all time. But it's going to be a 19-year-old freshman quarterback that's going to steal a lot of the spotlight on that night. This is going to be a major story. So this is going to be great for Nebraska fans. So adding to the storyline, presumably Raiola will have had some game film the week before under his belt and the season opener against UTEP, since he's just been named the starter. He'll be the second true freshman to ever start at Nebraska. Adrian Martinez did it back in 2018, and that's it. Those will be the only two that have ever done it at Nebraska. Now, the Buffaloes open the week before hosting North Dakota State, and that's a Thursday night game. So they're going to have a few extra days to get ready for Nebraska. A little bit of an advantage for Coach Prime. But even though the Husker game is a rivalry game for Colorado, maybe the Buffs will be looking ahead a little bit. They got Colorado State the next week. That's another. They got back-to-back rivalry games. Probably not going to be looking ahead, but we can think about it. Dylan Raiola is going to need some help, no matter how good he is as a freshman. Now, Nebraska has a couple of transfer wide receivers with a little bit of experience. Isaiah Nayor, he's been with Texas and Wyoming. When he was with Wyoming, he was second team All Mountain West. Okay. And Jamal Banks, who comes from Wake Forest. And we'll see if one of these guys can get a little rhythm going and be one of Raiola's favorite targets. Of course, you know as well as I do that a young quarterback's best friend is always a running back. And you might have a lot of them. So far, it seems like Nebraska's going with some rotation for running back by committee right now. We mentioned Irvin, Emmett Johnson, Dante Dowdell, who transfers in from Oregon. I don't know that they have a set running back as of today. So it might be a little bit by committee. But bottom line, no matter who plays, no matter who the running backs are, no matter if a receiver breaks out, no matter if Raiola is awesome, you got to cut down on those 31 turnovers that the Huskers had last year. That was bad. That was bad. The last thing we need as Husker fans on national TV is to see the freshman Raiola going back and throwing a pick six to Coach Prime's son Shilo, high-stepping it into the end zone like the old man used to do. We don't want any of that. Got to take care of the football. Anyway, Husker fans, love to hear what you have to say about this. And for the new Colorado fans that may have checked this out for the first time, love to get your opinion on it too with Coach Prime and his comments. Always love that. No matter what, welcome aboard, and be sure to subscribe if you don't mind. Just real quick, click it, and that's it. We don't ask any personal information. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. And you can follow Locked On Big Ten for free wherever you get your podcast. That way you get the latest episode of this podcast as soon as it becomes available each and every day. We also ask you, if you don't mind, if you don't just share that little curved share arrow. Share this podcast wherever you get it. I know you know a Big Ten friend or family member. Share it. Spread the word. We'll grow that way as well. And don't forget to pick up some gear from your favorite school, whether it be Nebraska or anybody else, at our website, where we keep all of our podcasts in chronological order, and we also group them by team. You'll find this one file away under Huskers. Go to the website, talkbig10.com, and go back, check out a previous podcast you may have missed before. That's talkbig10.com. All right, we've got some Big Ten news. Some of it's not good. Some injury news. We've got some recruiting news as well. We'll get you all caught up on everything that is going on. And by the way, some things a little spiffy over there in Bloomington. We'll share that with you as well. That's all coming up next here on Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. Ibata, I've been telling you about this, right? We all spend money. We all go out, whether it be groceries, supplies, anything that we need, toys, whatever the case is, it costs money. But if you have the Ibata app, you can earn cash back. It's great. Every time you shop, you can earn hundreds on items from groceries, beauty supplies, The average Ibata user earns $256 a year. That could pay for a whole nother shopping trip. And also, you could save on over 2,400 brands at 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Best Buy, all that. It's all good. It's time you joined over 50 million other users that use Ibata. All right. Right now, Ibata is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibata and using the code LOCKEDONCollege when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play, the Google Play Store, and download the free Ibata app and start earning cash back. Use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's Ibata, Ibotta, on the Google Play or App Store and use Locked On College. Remember, Ibata. Well, thank you for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Thank you so much. And if you're just like once a week or a couple times a month checking in, check in every day. We're here every day. Meanwhile, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and share and follow and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget our website, talkbig10.com. Hey, when you're done with us, I always invite you to check out our friends at Locked On College Football. They have a podcast there. They talk about stuff on and off the field every single day. Locked On College Football, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So yesterday, we talked about Miller Moss and the USC Trojans, right? By the way, if you missed it and you're a Trojan fan, again, go back to the website, talkbig10.com. It's all right there. But former USC coach Pete Carroll back on campus. Apparently, he's teaching a class this fall. I guess he's an adjunct professor or something now. No word on what the subject will be. How do you think Lincoln Riley feels with Pete Carroll roaming around campus like that? I don't know. No, I really don't know what the class is going to be teaching. Football, coaching, PE, I don't know. Now, Pete Carroll's a great story, though, for you youngsters out there who just know him as the Seattle Seahawks coach. He was the head coach of the Trojans from 2001 to 2009. And let me tell you, I was living in Los Angeles then, and Pete had it rolling. The Trojans were like the Beatles in SoCal, and it's hard to get people's attention in Southern California. He's one of the 3 coaches to win a Super Bowl and a college football championship. So he's 72 years old now. And he says he's in the best shape he's ever been. Great energy. He hasn't closed the door on coaching again, but kind of feels like the door's been closed. I don't know that he'll be back anywhere. Bad news for Rutgers and Greg Schiano this week. Senior linebacker Mohamed Toure tore his ACL, and he's out for the season. This is the second time in the last 3 years this has happened to him. He's going to miss the entire season due to this ACL injury, and he was just elected team captain for the second time, I might add. He was on the preseason Buckus Award watch list. Had a good chance of winning that or being a finalist for that. He'll have another year of eligibility left, 2025, should he choose to come back. Now, into some recruiting news. Andrew Marsh is a receiver that people have been looking at. He is committed to Michigan for the 2025 season. Says he wants to be part of something special. He wants to make some history. He was the 9th rated wide receiver nationally for 2025. He comes from Katy, Texas. He had over 30 scholarship offers before choosing Michigan. Took his time, too. Took a lot of visits. His junior season last year, he caught 65 passes for 1,158 yards and 15 touchdowns. But it was a playoff game that got everybody's attention last year when he had 8 catches in a game for 240 yards and 5 touchdowns. Yeah. People were thinking about him. That sealed the deal. And he's choosing Michigan. As for the class of 2026, 5-star defensive tackle Jakeem Stewart is considering a mid-season commitment instead of the traditional signing day in December. He is the number 3 overall prospect in the country. And the Buckeyes are on the short list. So, in fact, he wanted to attend the Ohio State-Oregon game at Alton Stadium on October 12th, but he's got a high school game to play that day. Can't do it. If we ever can get to the point where kids are blowing off high school games to go visit the colleges they want to go to, I don't know. Nothing would surprise me anymore. He also is going to attend the USC opener against LSU. and he wants to attend the Georgia Texas game October 19th and then visit the Michigan Ohio State game November 30th. But it sounds like, based on this information, by the time the Michigan Ohio State game comes around, he may already have made his decision public at that point if he's going to do it mid-season. So we'll see. Now, if you are in the Bloomington area and you want to take in a Hoosiers football game, you may notice a lot of upgrades around Memorial Stadium. First of all, there's going to be more food and beverage options from some pretty popular near-campus eateries. And there's an opening of B-Town Boulevard is what they're calling it on the south side of Memorial Stadium. Buffalo's will be there. By the way, Buffalo's was in business when I was a college student back there. It's going to be part of this. Yogi's, Social Cantina, Aver's Pizza, all going to be set up at the stadium on game days. And this B-Town Boulevard that they're creating going to turn Miller Plaza into a festival-like area before the games, which will be open to both ticket holders and the public 2.5 hours before kickoff. So you can all go down there. And the area also has a stage. It'll host live music, food trucks, outdoor bar, plus a team store for all your merch, all that stuff right there. Sounds like a lot of fun over there in Bloomington. All right. Now, coming up as we head into the weekend, what we always like to do, we always like to take a look at the Big Ten Network. We don't have any affiliation with the Big Ten Network, but let's face it, we talk about a lot of the same stuff. So we're going to look at what's on the schedule. We picked out a few highlights for Big Ten Classics airing this weekend. Pretty soon, we're going to be pointing out fewer and fewer Big Ten Classics and more live action on Saturday afternoon with these football games. Also, if you are new, we do a feature in our final segment of our podcast each and every day. Mondays, we always do our Big Ten top 10 observations for the weekend. Tuesday tweets. Wednesday, we do power rankings, how we think the standings should be. In the offseason, we find some silly stuff that we have fun with. Thursdays, Big Ten Classics. And Fridays, we do pigskin picks or some sort of pick 'em. Even in the offseason, we always find a little something. Anyway, Big Ten Classics. I'll tell you what's coming up. You're going to love watching some of this weekend. It's coming up in a minute here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, Locked On Big Ten fans, I got to tell you about something new here. Take a moment. Pay attention to this. A brand new mobile game. I think you're going to love it. It's Ultimate College Football Head Coach. That's you. It's an amazing game and simulation to get you into the shoes of a head coach and lead your college football program. You can, actually imagine being a head coach of Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State or the Trojans or Oregon. This amazing simulation. It just lets you do all these things, a lot of things from recruiting, hiring a staff, overseeing training camps, handling scholarships. You can control every crucial detail of your program. It's all in your hands right there, right? And you're not going to be fired at the end. Everybody loves this. You're responsible for calling your own offensive plays as well during the games. These are all the things you got to do as a head coach. You get to do them with this. Ultimate College Football Head Coach is completely free, no ads, 100% playable offline, and you can play on the go and whenever you want. So we got a special offer for you, our Locked On Big Ten fans. Use the promo code Locked On CFB. That's all caps, Locked On CFB, and inside the game store to receive a free boost to your program. And make sure you take advantage of that perk. Get your team off to a strong start. Download the game. Here's where you visit. All right. Here's where you visit. Ultimate-CFB.com. Ultimate-CFB.com, or look it up in the app stores. Ultimate College Football Head Coach. Begin your coaching legacy today. All right. It is time to take a look at our Big Ten Classics for the weekend coming up. Can't believe it's the weekend. We're going to have some football, Florida State, week 0. And then the weekend after that, we're rolling. Football season is here. If you're on audio only, I'm going to put this on screen and I'll describe it in detail so you don't feel like you're missing out. But those that are on video, let's check it out. What we got for our Big Ten Classics coming up. All right, we're going to pick it up Friday, August 23rd. These are all Eastern times. 7 p.m. Eastern. There is a Nebraska Volleyball Classic, Wisconsin at Nebraska from last October. Merritt Beeson, 21 kills to help lead the second-ranked Cornhuskers to a 3-2 victory over the top-ranked Badgers. Then at 9 o'clock, a Washington football classic, Oregon at Washington from last October. That was where Michael Penix Jr. threw a late touchdown pass to Rome Odunze to lift the 8th-ranked Huskies to a 36-33 victory over the 7th-ranked Ducks. That was a big game. That was a big game. And then at 10 o'clock Eastern on Friday, we got another Washington football classic, the 2023 Pac-12 Championship, Washington versus Oregon again. This was on December 1st. Again, Michael Penix, big day, 319 yards. Dylan Johnson rushed for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. There's the 3rd-ranked Huskies. Another 3-point win, 34-31 over the 5th-ranked Ducks to win the Pac-12, the final Pac-12 championship. All right, on to Saturday. Let's take a look at the old slate. We'll pick it up here with our highlight here at 4:30 in the afternoon. The big moment, Buckeyes walk off against the Wolverines. You can hear from Urban Meyer, Chris Wormley, Tom Rinaldi, and a whole bunch of people as they look back on the Buckeyes' dramatic double overtime win over the Wolverines in 2016. Then at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time at Ohio State Football Classic, Michigan at Ohio State. They'll actually run that game we just talked about, which was capped off in front of 110,000 people. Curtis Samuel with the 15-yard double overtime touchdown. And the number 2 ranked Buckeyes walk it off 30-27 over 3rd ranked Michigan. And then at 7 o'clock, a Michigan football classic. And it's against Ohio State. This one goes back to 1997. Heisman Trophy winner Charles Woodson scoring on a 78-yard punt return to help the top-ranked Wolverines beat the 4th-ranked Buckeyes 2014 to remain undefeated on the season. And then at 9 o'clock, we have a USC football classic. We can include those now that they're part of the Big Ten. USC at Ohio State from September of 2009. The 3rd-ranked Trojans defeated the 8th-ranked Buckeyes with an early 4th-quarter rushing touchdown from Stephon Johnson. And let's take a look at the Sunday slate. Got a couple we picked out for you to check out on Sunday, August 25th at noon Eastern. It is a Wisconsin volleyball classic, Wisconsin at Penn State. This is from November of 2018. The 8th-ranked Badgers ended the season upsetting the 7th-ranked Nittany Lions in 5 sets to help with Madison Duelo's career-high 24 kills. And then at 5:30 Eastern Time, settle down your weekend and bring it to a close with a UCLA football classic. As USC was at UCLA. This is November. This is the season finale in 2012. Remember Brett Hundley? Brett Hundley passing a touchdown and rushing for 2 more scores to lead the 17th-ranked Bruins to a 38-28 victory over the 21st-ranked Trojans. So there you have it. Big Ten classics on the Big Ten Network over the weekend. We didn't put them all out there. Just some suggestions for you to check out. I hope you enjoy that and found that somewhat useful as well. In the meantime, lots I want to tell you here. All right. Number 1, if you want to get reach out, there's many ways to do it. You can do it on Twitter or X at TalkBig10. That's the number 10. Comments on YouTube are great, especially when you all go back and forth. And don't forget our website, which you see the scroll on the bottom if you're on video, TalkBig10, number10.com. We'll get an email there. We've got all of our podcasts there. Go back and check out some more podcasts from this week. They're all there chronologically and grouped by school. Find your favorite school and watch them all anytime we feature them. And while you're there, please, I always ask you to subscribe and share. Subscribe and share. It's free. You can subscribe and follow this podcast right now on your favorite podcast app, and you'll get the latest episode of Locked On Big Ten as soon as it becomes available each and every day, whether you watch on video or listen on audio only. After you're done with Locked On Big Ten, don't forget our friends at Locked On College Football. They have a podcast. Make that your second listen of the day. Check it out. Locked On College Football, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. All right. Like I said earlier, we're getting close to a weekend with football. Got another podcast ready for you tomorrow, previewing all things Big Ten right here. Can't wait to talk to you again tomorrow. Always appreciate the time we spent today, though. Thank you very much for doing that. I'm Craig Sheeman for Locked On Big Ten. We'll see you next time.